This just confirmed what we all feared, as a recent report has revealed that the Minnesota Vikings could be targeting a wide receiver with their first round pick. We're going to be breaking down this report and detailing why this is one of the craziest things the Minnesota Vikings could choose to do here in this year's draft. We're going to break it all down here in this video very quickly. Before we jump into it, though, be sure to hit the sub button if you haven't already. We know that just over 70% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed. We have a lot of stuff coming over the next few days, with the draft only days away. The Vikings still uncertain about what they're going to do with their first round pick. We're going to have all your news here as it comes out, so be sure to hit the sub button. But let's get into this report. Here is the headline of what we are looking at from A to Z Sports. Wide receiver in round 1. Offensive line sleepers and best players available highlight Minnesota Vikings NFL draft mailbag. Now, the first and more important thing that we're going to be talking about here today is wide receiver in round 1. We know this is one of the biggest mistakes the Vikings could do in this year's draft, with a great opportunity here to either trade down, get more picks, add some safeties, add some corners, add anybody in the secondary, an offensive line, a defensive line. We've detailed just about every possibility in this year's draft, and the wide receivers have not been one. We're going to start off with this first bit in the article here, going over what it could be. Emeka Egbuka gives off some Cooper Kupp vibes in that he does the dirty work and does everything really well, especially as a route running savant. The other option I would consider is Luther Burden III from Mizzou, who projects as a great yak threat while also projecting well as a route runner. If they were to go a route, it would elevate this offense with J.J. McCarthy. Now, reading this, players make sense. Both are phenomenal players. We saw Egbuka out of Ohio State play phenomenal this year. Luther Burden also playing very, very great in Mizzou during his season. However, the Vikings have a massive list of papers that they need to cover first before the Vikings even consider another wide receiver. Me and Griffin here have spoken about the possibility of the Vikings getting rid of Jordan Addison, maybe getting rid of, of course not Justin Jefferson, but getting rid of a few other receivers that they have. Rondale Moore was acquired, and, coming into this season, the Vikings wide receiver room looks very, very solid. But people are saying that things could be moved. I do think that's an absolute possibility, but going this route, a wide receiver in the first round, is absolutely crazy and really makes zero sense for the Vikings right now, unless A to Z Sports has some sort of inside knowledge detailing a potential trade for Jordan Addison, which I think is closer to a 0% than many other things. So take this with what you will, listen closely, and let me know in the comments below when we kind of get through this video going over the news here, what you think is going to happen here in this draft, which is 2 days away from the time of recording this video. So heading in to the next screenshot as well, we're going to be talking about a little bit of picks. And of course, the round 124, 24th overall is where this projection is the Vikings are taking wide receiver. Now, as I mentioned, incredibly unlikely, but if this details are true, if this comes out and says that the Vikings have actually indeed been planning to take a wide receiver with this pick, the Vikings are setting themselves up for a much worse season than what a lot of people are thinking. Because when we're looking at the secondary and what we've been speaking about over the past few videos that me and Griffin have done, looking at the offense, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Jalen Naylor, Rondale Moore at the wide receiver 4, perfectly fine for a core here this year, and with TJ Hawkinson there as well. Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason and Ty Chandler, things in the offense are looking great. But when we go to this defense, when we go to the defense that the Vikings are currently slated at, not what else is going to happen in the draft, they are missing quite a few pieces in the secondary. Harrison Smith being really the only safety with a boatload of experience that the Vikings are going to have, and of course him retiring at the end of the season, which is almost guaranteed at this point. I don't want to confirm anything for him without him saying anything, but it does seem like that's going to be the case. It seems like this is the final ride. The Vikings need to get this sorted out now. You want to be able to have a safety learn under Harrison Smith. You want to have a safety be able to learn and watch him play firsthand in the room, no matter who it is, with Brian Flores' defense, with the corner room, with Brian Murphy being their number one now, and still not that much depth in the corners. They're going to need to really focus on what they want to do. Because, of course, Josh Metellus can play everywhere on the defense. That's something that we have a very big privilege of, but he can't play multiple positions at once, which the Vikings, if they go and get a wide receiver at the first round, will be something that he's going to have to do, which is just not what the Vikings have to do. There are many different issues they have to tackle before they actually go out and make a wide receiver pick, which in the third round, let's just say we go back to these picks looking at, whether it is the third, whether they may trade down that first, go and get another second or a third, then we can talk about that wide receiver pick then, but not at all with this first rounder. It makes zero sense. But Alec Lewis reported last week that the Vikings general manager, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, is not ruling out the possibility of a move with the Vikings first round pick, including a trade down, which we've also had a video about talking about the Chiefs, who are the likely team at this point to at least move up, go get this Vikings pick, whether or not be made there to the Chiefs or whether or not be to somewhere else. I think the option is be able to get some more picks here to add to this draft, to be able to add to their current list of picks, which is, let's be honest, not very good for what the Vikings are trying to do. They're not going to probably have very many of these prospects or, young players from this draft come in and play next season at a regular pace, but we've seen crazier things, and I think that the Vikings are going to try and get everybody they can to get in here this season and be ready to play. But when we're going on as well, looking at Egbuka here, when we're looking at his overall ranking, I think I wanted to pull this up, looking at his pre-draft analysis, kind of everything about him. He's a great player. There's no doubt about that. And, of course, Luther Burden Jr. as well as another option. But Egbuka right now is at the top of this list for those two players. Could change, of course, in these next few days. But looking at him out of Ohio State, you're looking at his ranking. 34th overall rank in the NFL draft, which, of course, doesn't really mean too much right now. But when you're comparing him to being drafted at 24, when the Vikings have many more important needs compared to a wide receiver, it really would be a major reach for the Vikings, even if they were to go ahead and consider moving Jordan Addison. You have the draft next year. You have free agency. You have a trade deadline. There's so many more options to be able to get another wide receiver to replace Jordan Addison in the time being, whenever or if it may happen or whatnot. But going for a 34 ranked overall prospect in the draft, even though he is the 4th ranked wide receiver, it really still just does seem like a reach to me. And of course, he is a great player no matter where he's going to go. If the Vikings do manage to get him, it would be a great pick. But 24, I will continue to say it, I think is just an absolute reach for a wide receiver, really no matter who it is. I would say apart from Tetero and McMillan. So let me know what you think about that. What do you think about the reach for the Vikings? Of course, this is from A to Z Sports. This is not from the Minnesota Vikings, so this does not mean that the Vikings are guaranteed to be making any sort of wide receiver reach at this point, but detailing it from the article, the headline that they have, they may have some sort of inside knowledge. I'm not quite sure, but the Vikings wide receiver in round 1 would be a terrible mistake for this team. Let me know what you think in the comments below about this pick. Do you want to see it? Do you not? Who or what do you want to see happen with this first round pick? Let me know in the comments below. That's all I got in this video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well, but I'm signing out. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.